She went live on Instagram announcing she was breaking up with me and kicking me out of my apartment. Then she started changing my locks while streaming to 12,000 followers. I calmly called building security and had them escort her out while she was still live. I was sitting in a budget meeting at work when my phone started vibrating nonstop. Ignored it at first because we were going over quarterly numbers and my boss was right there. Meeting wrapped up about 20 minutes later, and I finally checked my phone. 15 text messages, all from different people, all saying basically the same thing. Bro, your girlfriend is completely losing it on Instagram right now. I opened Instagram, and there she was. My girlfriend of 8 months, Madison, sitting on my couch in my apartment, live streaming to over 12,000 viewers. She was holding up a receipt from the hardware store like it was a trophy. So yeah, I just bought this deadbolt kit for $43.99, and I'm going to install it myself while he's at work because he thinks he can just ignore my texts all day. Nah, when he gets home tonight his key won't work and we'll see how he likes that. The comments section was absolutely exploding. People were saying, "Get it, girl, this is iconic, make him pay." She was eating it up, reading comments out loud and laughing. And for everyone asking where I'm going to put his stuff, she continued, "The hallway, I'm literally just going to pile all his crap in the hallway and he can deal with it because this is my apartment now." I sat there in my office staring at my phone in complete disbelief. She was announcing a felony to 12,000 people. Broadcasting an illegal eviction attempt live on social media. Here's the thing though. I own this apartment. Well, I'm the only one on the lease. Have been for 3 years. Madison moved in 4 months ago after her previous roommate situation fell apart. Translation: her roommate kicked her out for not paying rent and being generally impossible to live with. But I was trying to be supportive, trying to help her get back on her feet. Clearly that was a mistake. I immediately called building security from my desk. "This is Unit 847, I need someone up there right now. My girlfriend is on Instagram Live announcing she's changing my locks and evicting me from my own apartment." The security guard asked if she was on the lease. I said no, I'm the only leaseholder. She's a guest who is currently attempting to illegally evict me and she's broadcasting the whole thing. He said they'd send someone up immediately. I told my boss I had a family emergency and had to leave. He could see something was seriously wrong on my face, so he just nodded. I left the office and drove home, doing exactly the speed limit because getting pulled over while my apartment was actively being stolen seemed like it would make a bad day even worse. The whole drive I kept the Instagram live stream open on my phone. She was now actively attempting to install the deadbolt and failing miserably at it. Okay, so these instructions make absolutely no sense. Like, why are there 3 different diagrams? Whatever, I'm a strong, independent woman, and I can figure out a stupid lock. The viewer count had climbed to over 13,000 people now. Someone in the comments asked if what she was doing was even legal. She read it out loud. "Is this legal?" Yeah, I've lived here for months. It's called common law marriage or whatever, and he can't do anything about it." Another comment popped up saying that's not how any of this works. She read that one too and said, "Whatever, you're not a lawyer, I know my rights." I had to laugh at that despite how furious I was. She very clearly did not know her rights. I pulled into the building's parking garage and texted security that I was in the building and heading up. The elevator ride felt like it took an hour. I could still hear her voice through my apartment door from down the hallway, still talking to her phone. I unlocked my door with my key, the one that still worked because she hadn't managed to install the new lock yet, and walked in. She was sitting on the floor surrounded by lock parts, screws everywhere, and my drill that I'd bought last year for furniture assembly. Her phone was propped up on the coffee table with the camera pointed at her. "Oh, perfect," she said when she saw me, looking up from the floor. "Everyone look who decided to show up, Mr. Too Busy for his girlfriend." I asked her very calmly what she was doing. She said, "What does it look like? I'm changing the locks on my apartment." I corrected her. "Our apartment." She stood up holding her phone and turned the camera to face me. "See, this is what I've been dealing with, my apartment, my lease, like I don't even exist." I told her she existed. She was just not on my lease. She'd been living there for 4 months as my guest. The viewer count was up to 14,000 now, and I knew someone was definitely screen recording all of this. She said, "You can't just throw me out." I pointed out that she was literally trying to throw me out on Instagram in front of 14,000 people. That's when there was a knock at the door. Building security. Her entire face changed in an instant. Panic first, then pure anger. "You called security on me?" I told her yes. She announced she was committing a felony on social media, so yeah, I called security. But what happened next was absolutely priceless. I opened the door and there were two security officers standing there. The older one looked tired, like he'd seen everything in his 20 years on the job. The younger one looked like he was actively trying not to laugh. The older officer asked if I was the one who called about an illegal eviction attempt. I said, "Yep, she's live streaming herself trying to change my locks and evict me from my own apartment." I pulled up the building's resident portal on my phone and showed him my lease with my name on it. Just my name. Nobody else's. The younger officer looked at Madison's phone still streaming and asked if she was broadcasting this. She said yes, everyone needs to see how he treats me. He asked how many viewers. She checked and said over 14,000. He nodded slowly and said, "So 14,000 people just watched you admit to attempted illegal eviction." She insisted it wasn't illegal because she lived there. The older officer asked if she was on the lease. She said, "I don't need to be, we're in a relationship." He told her that's not how leases work. She said, "This is insane. Are you seriously taking a side?" He said, "We're not taking sides, we're taking the law's side." He asked if she paid rent. She said, "We split expenses." He clarified, "Do you pay rent to the building directly?" Silence. He explained that if she wasn't on the lease and didn't pay rent directly to the property management company, she was legally classified as a guest, and the leaseholder could ask her to leave at any time. She turned to me and said, "You're really doing this in front of everyone?" I said, "You announced you were evicting me on Instagram Live, so yeah, I'm really doing this." She claimed she was joking. I pointed at the door where she'd actually damaged the frame trying to install the new deadbolt. I said, "You bought a $44 lock kit. You drilled out my lock casing. That's not a joke. That's property destruction." The older officer looked at the damaged door and asked if she did that. She stammered that it's not damage. She was just installing a new lock. I said, "On property she doesn't own. That's called vandalism." Her face went completely white. The officer looked at me and asked if I wanted her removed from the premises. The comments on her live stream were going absolutely insane at this point. Half her followers were screaming about misogyny and how terrible I was. The other half were pointing out that she'd just incriminated herself on video, and this was the best content they'd ever seen. I said, "Yes, I want her out today, right now." She started crying and said she had nowhere to go. I told her she should have considered that before trying to steal my apartment. She insisted she wasn't stealing anything. I said, "You were changing the locks to prevent me from entering my own home. That's literally textbook theft." The younger officer told her she needed to pack her belongings and she had 30 minutes. She said, 30 minutes? He said, "You're lucky we're giving you that. Technically, he could have you removed immediately for trespassing, and we wouldn't give you any time to pack." She looked at her phone and then back at me and asked if I was really going to throw her out and make her pack on camera in front of everyone. I said, "You made this public, not me. You wanted an audience, you got one." She finally ended the live stream. 14,962 viewers when it cut off. Then she started throwing clothes into garbage bags while crying dramatically. Security stood there the entire time watching to make sure she didn't take anything that belonged to me. She grabbed my PlayStation controller at one point. I said, "That's mine." She said, "You gave it to me." I corrected her, "I let you use it. It's still mine. Put it back." She threw it at the TV. Missed completely. The younger officer picked it up and told her very firmly that if she damaged any more property, they would call the actual police. 28 minutes later, she was done packing. 3 trash bags full of clothes, her makeup bag, and her laptop. She asked what about the rest of her stuff. I told her to text me when she wanted to pick it up and I'd be here with security present, but she wasn't coming back alone. She said, "This is illegal." The older officer said, "No, ma'am, this is very legal. What you tried to do is illegal." They escorted her down to the lobby and made absolutely sure she left the building, then came back up to check on me. The door frame was pretty damaged from her amateur drilling attempts, and the lock was half installed and completely unusable. I called building maintenance and explained that my girlfriend had tried to change my locks without permission and damaged the door in the process. They sent someone up within an hour and fixed everything. Cost me a $175 maintenance fee, but it was worth every penny. I sat down on my couch and opened Instagram. She'd already posted to her story. Just got illegally evicted. He called security on me. I'm literally homeless now. This is domestic violence. I knew right then this was far from over. By midnight, the video was absolutely everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. Someone had screen recorded the entire live stream, and it was spreading like wildfire. The title was something like "Entitled Girlfriend Tries to Steal Apartment on Instagram Live," and it had 892,000 views already. My phone would not stop buzzing. Friends I hadn't talked to in years, distant family members, coworkers, everyone had seen it. My brother called me and said, "Dude, what the actual hell just happened?" I told him she tried to steal my apartment on camera in front of 15,000 people. He asked if she was stupid or just that entitled. I said I'm going with both. Her Instagram was a complete mess. Story after story. He threw me out with nowhere to go. Building security brutalized me. All my stuff is still there, and he won't let me get it. The comments were split pretty evenly. Her core followers, mostly other wannabe influencers, were supporting her completely. But everyone else was absolutely roasting her. People were saying, "You literally live streamed yourself committing a crime. Girl, you're not on the lease, what did you expect? You tried to change his locks and now you're the victim?" But the ones supporting her were extremely loud about it. They started a hashtag, Justice for Madison, and posted my full name, my workplace, my apartment building address, everything. They were trying to dox me and get me canceled. But then things escalated in a way I never expected. Friday morning, I got called into HR at my office. They told me they'd been getting calls. I said I know my ex-girlfriend is directing her followers to harass my workplace. They said she's claiming you abused her. I pulled up the full video of the Instagram live on my phone and showed them everything. The HR director watched the entire thing from start to finish. When it ended, she just said, "Oh wow, she really did announce she was stealing your apartment while 15,000 people watched." She told me they'd flag any future calls as harassment, but I should probably get a lawyer just to be safe. I got a lawyer that same afternoon. Showed him all the evidence, the video, the screenshots, everything. He actually smiled when he watched it. He said she recorded herself committing attempted illegal eviction and then posted it publicly where 14,962 people watched it happen. He said this is genuinely the easiest case I've ever taken. Don't delete anything, save absolutely everything, and if she tries to sue, we'll counter-sue for property damage, harassment, and defamation. That night, Madison showed up at my building again. Security called me. "Sir, she's back, demanding to be let up to your apartment." I asked if she was still on my approved guest list. He said no, we removed her after the incident. I told them to give her one warning and if she didn't leave voluntarily to call the police for trespassing. 15 minutes later, he called back. "Police are here, she's being escorted off the property." She wasn't charged with anything, just given an official warning. She immediately posted about it on Instagram. "Cops called on me for trying to get my belongings. This is harassment. This is abuse." More hashtags. More of my personal information getting spread around. Someone even doxed my specific parking spot number in the garage. Sunday, I received a letter from her lawyer. Budget firm, clearly a template cease and desist letter. It claimed I owed her $8,000 for rent contributions and her half of the security deposit she was never entitled to. My lawyer responded Monday morning with a beautiful letter. No rent was paid by your client to the property management company. Any money exchanged was between private parties for shared living expenses. She has zero claim to any security deposit as she was never on the lease. Furthermore, she owes my client $175 for property damage during her illegal eviction attempt. He also included screenshots of her own Instagram posts where she admitted she was taking my apartment, using her own words as evidence against her. Her lawyer dropped her as a client 3 days later. Then Tuesday happened and things got even more ridiculous. I came home from work and found Madison sitting outside my apartment door with her mother. Her mom stood up and said we need to talk, like she was some kind of mediator. I said nope. She said my daughter has rights. I said your daughter tried to steal my apartment on Instagram Live in front of 15,000 people. She said Madison was just emotional and made a mistake. I said a $44 deadbolt kit mistake? A property damage mistake? A mistake witnessed by 15,000 people? She insisted I couldn't just throw someone out like that. I told her I did, and security backed me up, and now you're both trespassing, so you need to leave. That's when Madison stood up and dropped her bombshell. She said I'm pregnant. I stopped dead. I asked, what did you just say? She said I'm pregnant with your baby and you're throwing out the mother of your child. I told her she was lying. She swore she wasn't. I asked when she found out. She said 2 weeks ago. I told her to show me the pregnancy test. She said she didn't have it with her. I said show me a doctor's note then. She said she hadn't been to the doctor yet. I said how convenient. Her mother actually had the audacity to say, how dare you question her? She's carrying your child. I said if she is, which I seriously doubt, she can text me proof. Until then you're both trespassing. I called security again. The same 2 officers came up and the younger one was definitely struggling not to laugh at this point. The older officer looked at me with this tired expression. I explained that now she was claiming to be pregnant. He looked at her and said, ma'am, that doesn't give you tenancy rights. She said I'm carrying his child. He said that's between you two and potentially family court. It doesn't change the fact that you don't live here anymore. They escorted both of them out. She posted about it immediately. Threw me out even though I'm pregnant. He's abandoning his child. He's a monster. The comments were mixed. Some people believed her, but most were skeptical. Girl, if you're pregnant, show proof. This sounds fake. You're really milking this situation. I made my only public response to the entire situation. Posted a screenshot of her text claiming she was pregnant, followed by another screenshot that just said waiting for proof. Will update when provided. I never got any proof. Big shock there. Week 3 was when things got truly unhinged. She'd moved on from the I'm homeless narrative to I'm taking legal action. She posted screenshots of emails she'd sent to tenant rights organizations, legal aid societies, even the local news station. None of them would take her case because she didn't have a case. So she pivoted to a new strategy. Posted this long Instagram tutorial about how to establish tenancy rights without being on a lease. She listed things like receiving mail at the address, which she'd done. Having a key, which I'd taken back. Keeping belongings there, which I'd packed up for her. Paying bills, which she'd Venmo'd me for groceries exactly 3 times in 4 months. Her followers ate it up. Oh my God, this is so helpful. I'm saving this. You're so smart. My lawyer read through her post and said she's publicly advising people how to fraudulently establish tenancy. That's incredibly stupid. Can we use this? I said absolutely. Because here's what she didn't know. The building had approved my formal request to remove her from the approved guest list entirely. She was now flagged in their system as banned, with the reason listed as attempted illegal eviction. Friday evening, she tried to use her fake tenancy claims in the real world. She showed up with a locksmith she'd hired. Told him she'd been illegally locked out of her apartment and needed to get back in. Security stopped them at the elevator. They told her, ma'am, you're banned from this property. She insisted she lived there and was on the lease. They pulled up their system on a tablet and showed the locksmith her photo flagged in their database. This is her photo, status banned, reason attempted illegal eviction. The locksmith looked at her and said, you tried to illegally evict someone? She said it was a misunderstanding. He left immediately without even charging her the service call fee. She had a complete meltdown in the lobby. Full screaming fit about her rights, about discrimination, about calling the police. Security did call the police. This time she was given a formal trespassing warning. If she returned to the property again, she would be arrested on site. She posted about it, of course. getting proof of police brutality, filing for body cam footage. My lawyer said she realizes body cam footage will just show her being removed for trespassing, right? I said I don't think she thinks anything through at this point. Monday, her mother called my mother. My mom called me immediately after. She asked, did her mother really just call me? I asked what she said. My mom said she claimed I got her daughter arrested. I explained that Madison got a trespassing warning for trespassing. That's how that works. My mom said that's exactly what I told her. Then she called me a bad mother for raising such a heartless son. I asked what mom said to that. She said I told her she raised a daughter stupid enough to live stream herself committing a crime, and then I hung up on her. I thanked my mom. She said also I watched the video. Madison is absolutely terrible at installing locks. Tuesday, I got served with papers. Madison was suing me in small claims court for $12,000. The breakdown was $4,000 for unpaid rent contributions, $3,000 for emotional distress, $2,500 for property I was supposedly withholding, $1,500 for moving expenses, and $1,000 for damaged belongings. My lawyer reviewed the filing and said this is going to be fun. The court date was set for 3 weeks out. I spent those 3 weeks documenting absolutely everything. Every Instagram post, every lie, every time she changed her story, every harassment message her followers sent me. Compiled it all into a 47-page document with screenshots, timestamps, and detailed references. Meanwhile, she kept posting things like taking him to court. He's going to pay. Justice is finally coming. Her followers hyped her up constantly. Get your money, girl. Sue him for everything. Make him suffer. Court day finally arrived. Madison showed up with her mother and this huge 3-ring binder full of supposed evidence, tabs, and highlighted sections and everything. I showed up with my lawyer and a USB drive containing all the video evidence. The judge called our case. Madison gave her opening statement, a full 5 minutes about how I'd financially abused her, trapped her in a relationship, threw her out with nowhere to go, kept her belongings hostage, all this dramatic victim narrative. Then my lawyer stood up for his opening statement. Your Honor, we have video evidence of the defendant announcing she was illegally evicting my client from his apartment while broadcasting live to 15,000 people on Instagram. He played the full video in court on the big screen. The judge watched the entire thing. Madison announcing the eviction plan. Her attempting to change the locks. Me walking in. Security explaining she wasn't on the lease. Her claiming it was her apartment while security proved she had zero legal right to be there. Everything. When it ended, the judge looked directly at Madison and asked, you recorded yourself doing this? She said she was emotional. He said you purchased a lock-changing kit, brought it to an apartment you don't lease, attempted to change the locks, and broadcast the entire thing on social media to thousands of people? She said he was ignoring my texts. The judge said that doesn't give you the right to steal someone's apartment. She insisted she wasn't stealing. He asked, what would you call changing someone's locks to prevent them from entering their own home? Complete silence. The judge went through her entire claim line by line and destroyed every single point. For $1,000 for rent contributions, do you have receipts showing you paid rent to the landlord? She said no because he paid it and I gave him money. Judge said that's cost sharing, not rent. You have no lease, no proof of tenancy, no legal right to demand repayment. $3,000 for emotional distress. You caused your own distress by attempting a crime. $2,500 for withheld property. You were given multiple opportunities to collect your belongings with security present. That's not withholding. $1,500 for moving expenses. You moved yourself out after attempting to illegally evict him. $1,000 for damaged belongings. Do you have proof anything was damaged? She said he threw my things in garbage bags. Judge said he packed your belongings when you were removed for trespassing. That's not damage. Case dismissed. But the judge wasn't finished. He looked at Madison and said, ma'am, filing frivolous lawsuits wastes court time and taxpayer resources. You are ordered to pay court costs of $350. Additionally, if you continue to harass the plaintiff, he has grounds for a restraining order. Do you understand? She was crying and said this isn't fair. The judge said you recorded yourself attempting a crime and posted it publicly. You're lucky you're not facing criminal charges. Court dismissed. Outside the courthouse, her mother started screaming at me. You've destroyed her life. She has nothing now, nothing because of you. I said she destroyed her own life on Instagram Live in front of 15,000 people. She made one mistake. She made about 50 mistakes, all recorded, all public, all her fault. I walked away. My lawyer was grinning ear to ear. He said that was beautiful. The judge absolutely demolished her. I said she's not going to stop though. He said she will when she realizes she's losing money every time she tries something. It's been 2 months now since the Instagram Live disaster. The video has 3.2 million views across all platforms. It's been featured on legal breakdown YouTube channels, drama commentary channels, even a series called Lawyer Reacts to Worst Tenancy Claims Ever. Madison is now internet famous for all the wrong reasons. Her Instagram following crashed from 14,000 to 6,000. The ones who stayed are mostly just there to watch the train wreck continue. She moved back in with her parents 2 hours away. According to the few mutual friends who still talk to me about her, she's working on herself, which apparently means complaining about me constantly and planning her big comeback. She posted a video last week. Story time: How my ex stole my home. Completely rewritten history. Now she claims she was on the lease, she did pay rent. I planned the whole thing to humiliate her. Security was corrupt, and the Instagram Live was taken out of context. Which is impossible because it was live and unedited. The comments destroyed her. Girl, we all saw the video. You can't gaslight the internet. Just take the loss and move on. My apartment is peaceful now. Got the door frame fixed properly. Building security knows her face and she's permanently banned from the property. Started dating again recently. Told the new girl the whole story on our 3rd date because it's completely Googleable at this point. She laughed and said, "Did you really just calmly call it entertainment for her followers?" I said that's what she wanted, right? Entertainment. She said that's ice cold. I said she tried to steal my apartment on Instagram Live. I'm not worried about being cold. The court ordered $350 she owes me. Never paid. My lawyer says we could pursue it, but it's not worth the effort. People ask if I feel bad about how it all went down. The answer is no. She humiliated herself. I just documented it and protected my home. She chose to broadcast her crime. She chose to keep lying. She chose to sue me. Every consequence she faced was a direct result of her own choices. She wanted Instagram fame, and she got it, just not the kind she wanted. That video isn't going away. That's her legacy now. 3.2 million people and counting.